What's going on, family? It's your boy Pop, and welcome to another episode of Creative Conversation. So listen to me. You're going to have to put on your seatbelts for this one because the guest that I have today, contemporary or one of the acclaimed contemporary dancers, choreographers. She's a teacher. She owns her own company. She has been featured in Essence. She has also been featured on a Today Show. She's a big deal. So today, we're going to dig into who she is as an individual, but also bridge the gap between who she is and also what she's been able to accomplish. So you're definitely going to want to tune in for this one. All right, let's get into the show. All right, so we are here, Miss Sidra Bell. How are you?
Thank you for having
No,
me.
thank you for coming. I truly appreciate it. Now, by the way, okay, I told my dad, I was like, listen, I'm going to reach out to Sidra because I told him that we had met at Rob's studio right here in Switch 210, right, in the heart of White Plains. And I said, you know what, I'm going to reach out to her and see if she'll be on Creative Combos. So I sent a DM to you, not thinking that you was going to get back to me, to be honest with you. And the fact that I think maybe 20 minutes later, no less than 30 minutes, you got right back to me. And I was like, whoa, like I was surprised. I was like, hold on a second. did she really just get back to me that quick? So I'm honored, and I thank you so very much for taking the time to respond back to me and come on the show.
I love talking with local artists. I'm local to White Plains, and it just excites me that there's such a community building here of artist creatives. So I was excited to do this with you.
Yeah, well, listen, and I'm excited to have you. So on Creative Conversations, I talk to creatives, I talk to small business owners, I talk to not-for-profit organizations, and you check all of those boxes, right? And so it was just the alignment was perfect, right? And so I said, oh man, I really wanted to sit down with you because I didn't know about who you were until recently, right? And so I want to let the people know who may not know you, who you are, and I'm interested in getting to know you a little bit more as well, right, through our conversation. But first, before we get into this, okay, we do something here called It's Random, all right? So I'm going to ask you 5 random questions. No right or wrong answers, all right? If you breathe, woosah, you'll be all right, right? But, well, let's start. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, question number 1. What is your favorite food?
Oh, wow. I have a sweet tooth.
Okay.
So that's my weakness. I love anything chocolate.
Okay.
And ice cream, cakes, and those kinds of things.
I love it.
But I also come from a really diverse background. So my family, they're all great cooks. So
Nice.
Southern food, Italian food,
Okay.
pies, all of those things. And that's some of my favorite thing is just being in the kitchen with my mom. And we recently had Thanksgiving. So
Yes.
we made everything from macaroni and cheese to greens to turkey stuffing. And
Oh, man.
and I've gotten more into just learning those traditions.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
food has been such a big part of my upbringing. My dad is also a really great cook.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
It's one of his hobbies.
Okay.
And his background is more, kind of Italian food and those
Yeah.
kinds of things. So
Oh, that's awesome. That's
I have
awesome.
a really huge mixture of, just kinds of foods and diverse background.
Got you. Okay. Well, good. Okay.
So I love to eat.
Listen, we got the sweet tooth. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So you got the sweet tooth. Anything chocolate.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Good. You're doing great. Here we go. Question number 2. Who is your favorite musical artist of all time?
Oh, wow. I am a music head.
Okay.
So this
Okay.
is hard. I was really impacted by D'Angelo's passing recently. That it's like a sense memory for me in college. I went to college in the time of voodoo.
Wow. Ooh, okay.
So
Okay.
that album
Okay.
has so much resonance. And in that time, also like Jill Scott is a favorite, Maxwell. I love Brandy.
Oh,
I love
goodness. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Mariah Carey, all those kind of 90s kind
Yeah.
of Tony Braxton. I love R&B, Luther Vandross. But I also have this feeling for disco too.
Really?
I was born in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
And so like somehow that music is kind of a part of my DNA too. And
I love it.
my parents, they had a funk disco group called Touche. And so
Called
I was
Touche.
kind of
I
raised
love
with
that name, by the
that
way.
music.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I love house music
Okay.
as well, and Louis Vega and those kinds of music
Yeah.
sets. So when I'm working, I always have house music on in the background.
Okay.
So I can go on and on because I love music.
I
And
love it. I love it. I love it.
as
I
a
love it.
choreographer, I'm always trying to find good music too.
Yeah.
So lots of listening to long SoundCloud tracks and
Yeah.
things and mixes like that. But my heart's kind of in R&B.
Gotcha.
That's really where my soul is, I think.
That's a safe place to be, too.
Vocalist.
Oh, that's a safe place to be.
I would say like Luther's probably my favorite vocalist.
Yeah. Okay. I can. Yeah, I like that.
The
I like
sweetness.
that.
And,
Yes.
and I like vocalists that have a kind of rawness too, like a sweetness, but also something very raw in their delivery. And it reminds me of dance too. Like I feel like dance is kind of like voicing.
Yeah.
So
Stick a pin in that because I'm coming back to that.
But you have to look at my playlist because
coming
it's
at-
so all over the map.
It's vast, right?
It's really vast. Yeah. People
But that's good though.
are always surprised.
but I think that that makes sense to me. As I read up on you, like that makes sense. That makes total sense. That makes total sense. Okay, good. 2 for 2. Question three. On a day when there's nothing on the calendar, there's no appointments, you don't have to go anywhere or do anything. There's no obligations. What does Sidra do?
I'm really a simple person. People don't believe that about me because I travel so much.
Yeah.
And for me, being at home with family feels like a kind of relief in a way where everything is in place, when things are aligned.
Yeah.
When I'm with my parents, and I have nieces and nephews that also live quite close and by. I have a sister that lives close by.
Nice.
And everything feels like it's in alignment when all those people that I feel safe with are together. So just go out for a coffee, and because my life it can be quite wild, the diversity of experiences and interactions and travel. I travel almost 6 months out of the year. So
Wow.
just really, kind of being a homebody, I love just going for coffee. I've been doing a lot more reading lately, like trying to invest my time in building up my library and getting back into reading and just the simple pleasures.
I got you.
I love nature actually too. One of the things I'm privileged enough to do is travel, and I get to go to really beautiful places in the West Coast.
Yeah.
So if I have a day off when I'm on a gig, I will take a hike or
Oh, nice.
walk, just see the local sites, museums.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
nice.
it's always sort of artistically inclined.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aesthetics, the aesthetics of just the outdoors and nature.
And I can imagine you glean so much inspiration from that too.
I do. Yeah,
I
the
can
space
imagine.
and the breath, those kinds of things. So.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Okay. All right. Listen, you're knocking this at the park. All right. Question four. Okay. Since you're a homebody, do you have a favorite movie of all time?
Oh, wow. I've never been a huge movie person. I have to say that.
Okay.
I think there's such a vividness in movies, and I'm very nostalgic too. So any movie kind of impacts me emotionally. Although I do enjoy them when I do kind of sit and watch them. Like I recently saw Wicked.
Okay.
And I cried, because I just, visual imagery is very impactful to me, and I love the craft of film. But anything kind of silly, like slapstick. My mom and I watch Bridesmaids a lot because it's light, stuff that's really light and kind of, not too heavy.
Got you.
I don't like any kind of violent movies or things like that.
Got you. Yeah, I got you.
But recently, we've been watching as a family. There's a series called Loot that's on that's really funny with Maya Rudolph from the SNL community.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's that on Netflix? What is it? I never heard of it.
It's on Prime.
Prime. Okay.
Yeah,
Loot.
it's really like quick, light, half-hour series.
Okay.
Because again, my work is pretty heavy, so
So you
I need to kind of go away and
Yeah,
release.
yeah.
But every now and then I'll get wrapped up in a series. What did I watch? Oh, Reasonable Doubt. I just watched that
Okay.
recently.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
really enjoyed that. Like, I love the character development, and it was set in LA, and I love the filmography of it. And
Yeah.
so I get into it, but I'm not such a movie person.
Got you. So you're more so into series.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, I got you.
If I do,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you do. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Last question. Last question. You're trying to read more. What book have you read that has been, would you say, has been the most either influential or impactful in your journey so far?
Well, this year has been a lot of reading because I'm working on my PhD
Oh, congratulations.
at the Ohio State University. So I've been traveling back and forth between New York and Ohio, and it's been a lot of theoretical reading, but it's actually opened my mind up a lot. It's been less reading for pleasure, but it's been really great for my creative practice. So I've been reading a book called Dramaturgy in Motion, which deals with the action of direction and like theories around being a director.
Okay.
And it's been kind of like a book I've been carrying on with me on travel. Like, it's always in my bag, and
Yeah,
I'll pick
yeah.
up a chapter. It was actually written by a classmate of mine from
Oh,
college,
nice.
Catherine Perfetta. So that's been kind of like a steady book for me recently. And then lots of articles around performance theory and practice. And,
Yeah.
when you're doing a PhD, it's almost like your library explodes.
100%. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
And I'm going to my last semester of coursework, but I have 2 years of reading basically ahead of me.
Research, yes, because you got to do the dissertation. You got to prepare for your dissertation.
Yeah, so that's kind of where my head is at right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And building up that learning library. But it's great. It's really nice to be reading and feeling like I'm in the conversation of the field and seeing where the field is at, because I've been a practitioner for so long.
Yes.
So just getting a handle on like, what are people saying about dance studies and performance studies right now?
I love that. I love that. Staying connected and aligned with your craft, with your gift,
So
with
important.
your calling. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. I like it.
And it's stewardship too. I think
Yes,
the more
that's
that
a
I
great
read,
word. That's a great word, yeah.
it informs my teaching practice. Like,
Yeah.
the more that I'm in conversation with scholars, the more that I can give my students not only my methodologies, but what the whole field is doing right now.
100%. 100%.
So that's where my reading has been focused.
Keeping your finger on the pulse. That's incredibly important.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You have graduated from It's Random, and you did amazing. You did amazing. So, I read that you were a shy child
Yes.
and very kind of reserved behind the scenes. But you also shared with me that you started dancing around 7.5. I'm fascinated by that, because you being a shy child and then taking on something that is so expressive. Do you think that you getting into dance almost kind of helped you express physically what maybe you were hesitant to express verbally?
It was almost inevitable that I got into dance. I mean, I think my parents, as musicians, we grew up in Inwood near Riverdale, and they just saw that I expressed through my body. Like, I always loved, when I was growing up, just making shapes in our apartment. It's always just moving a lot. And luckily, my mom had a background in dance. She was a musician. They met through music, and she had a background in study as a young musician. She used to take classes at the Alvin Ailey, and they just saw that was something that was natural and inherent. And once I got into my first classes, it felt like home.
Yes.
It really felt like a community. It felt like a place to belong. And it's also a nonverbal expression, and you're really under the kind of mastery of a teacher, and you're receiving. And I just fell in love with the language of it. I think I was always like a deeply intuitive child, like very dreamy, and I actually loved doing visual art too, and making shapes on a page.
Okay.
So something about the visual aspect of dance, and like my affinity for visual art and music, obviously growing up in a musical household, it all came together in dance.
Yes.
It felt like all those things were activated in me. And I was lucky enough that I had teachers that kind of saw that little gift.
Yeah.
and they kept pushing me further and further. I was also very studious, so I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
they liked
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
me. I was
100%. Yeah,
quiet but studious, and
yeah,
I absorbed a lot. So they kept pushing me forward and exposing me to different areas where I could grow and flourish. So I was at the Dance Theater of Harlem when I
yes,
started, and that was wonderful because it was a Black-led institution, and you really had right in front of you leadership, within just the history of Black dance.
yeah,
Arthur Mitchell, he was the first principal dancer at New York City Ballet. He founded Dance Theater of Harlem, and it
yeah,
was just an inspiring environment. There was a company there that we could see, right as children
yeah, yeah.
performing, and I got to perform, very early on at the Apollo Theater because
Yes. Oh,
I took
iconic,
tap dance too.
iconic. Yes,
So
iconic.
I was just exposed,
Yeah,
I was so lucky to grow up in New York City where it's all at your fingertips, and you just build community too, and it pulled me out of my shell and gave me an expression,
yes,
and a place to go, after school was like home.
yeah. I love that. I love that. So I think that is important because one of the things that, for me, and I thank God for my parents, was exposure. Exposure was something big, and you being exposed to that at such a young age, I can only imagine what that did to you,
Mhm.
not just for your, as far as your growth is concerned, and as far as the art of dance,
Mhm.
but also you seeing that and being exposed to that, what that does to you as far as your self confidence is concerned.
Definitely.
So what does representation mean to you?
It means everything. I think, particularly in dance, and Dance Theater of Harlem was such a historical place because it was one of the first organizations for classical dancers, Black
Mm,
classical dancers. And in reflecting on that, at the time you're growing up and through the school, you feel it, but now looking back, I know how impactful that was because
mm.
there was never a moment where I felt like I couldn't do it
Yeah.
and move forward because I had all this leadership around me. And it was a diverse school, it was students of all backgrounds, but it was under Black leadership.
Yeah.
And so they really made a space for us to see that in real time.
Yeah.
And I felt always like empowered that I could do it.
Yes.
And choreography has always been kind of an ambiguous thing too. It's like, what does a choreographer actually do?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got to see that up close. I got to work under people that were making dances on us and seeing what that craft was, and being in Harlem and getting to see all the venues, like I said, performing at the Apollo, and we would also perform at different festival events too.
Yeah.
And so it was just a really blessed experience to be there. And then to go on to Alvin Ailey in high school
Yes.
was similarly, you're kind of in this environment of a school, but there was a professional company attached to it. And
Yes.
I remember in high school, I got to, really work behind the scenes for my scholarship. We
Yeah.
had to do jobs, at the school. So I was working at the front desk, I was teaching little ones,
Nice.
and I would sometimes work for the Alvin Ailey City Center season behind the scenes,
Okay.
and help out with some of the patron events. And it was just all of that interweaving of the professionalism of dance. And I also got to perform with the company when I was in high school.
Oh,
In
that's
one of their pieces, they would bring the students into. It's called Memoria.
Yeah.
So those are just landmark moments where you just don't forget them as you move through. And simultaneously to that, my parents had a number of musical groups that I performed with. New Voices of Freedom
Okay.
was one. And
Okay.
growing up and along the way, it was a secular choir. So
Yeah.
we did music from all genres, but we performed at like St. John the Divine and
Nice.
festivals. And my cousin and I, we actually performed. We were little ones in the
Yeah.
choir, and we
Yeah.
would dance and make dances
Oh,
and
that's
things, and
cool.
sing. So it was just all this confluence of experiences that made me who I am, brought me into the different languages of artistic practice, connected me with intergenerational communities.
Yeah.
I got to see up close what it was like not only to be on stage, but also behind the scenes. And it just all came together for me in thinking about how to be a leader in the arts.
Oh, that's awesome. So let me ask you this. So as far as you're, everything is kind of happening around you, and you were able to organically just kind of ride the wave,
Yeah,
right? You know what I mean?
absorb. Because I still
Absorb it.
was pretty
Yeah.
quiet too. I was
Yeah.
just kind of taking everything in.
So, like, at what point, or and even have you gotten to that point? Well, I would imagine at this point you would. But at what point did the shell break? right?
It's still breaking.
Yeah, I'm about to say, okay, I got you. Yeah, yeah,
Every now
yeah.
and then, little Sidra comes back up.
Okay,
You have
yeah,
those feelings, especially as I take on bigger and bigger roles and
yeah.
stages. I find that little part of me is still there, that little shy girl. And,
Mm.
I look at her through like the purview of where I am now. And it still amazes me. I don't take anything for granted. Like everything feels like it's anew.
Yeah.
Every step, every award or acclaim, it still feels like I can't believe it.
Yes.
So it still comes in. I feel like I'm continuing to break the shell, but that's what keeps it kind of fresh and keeps me passionate and alive in the work.
Yes.
There's something about it. Even I say, like, every time I go into the studio to create a new piece, it's very humbling.
Mm.
It feels like you
Yeah.
don't know where you're going necessarily.
Yeah.
The thing that grounds me is stepping into the studio and I say putting my hands on the mat
Nice.
and like reconnecting with my body and the unknown and the people around me, because you're sort of leading the ship too.
Yeah.
And so there's never a moment where I feel totally stable and secure in that. It's like you're always in the question and the curiosity.
Always in the question. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Wow. Wow. So the shell is break is still continuing to break,
Yeah.
which I think is a good thing, right? Because to your point, that keeps you grounded. That keeps you in a place almost of humility, right? Which is a great place to, I would imagine, be able to create from, right?
Yeah. I look at the great artists and that we mentioned even in the conversation earlier, like there's a humility that I find in the greatest artists. They don't necessarily put out a ton of work all the time. They're kind of behind the scenes, like really working on the craft. There's always work happening. It's
Yeah.
not always in front of the cameras, but the work is always happening, and there's a humility in that.
Yeah.
I feel most alive actually when I'm in a production space and like
Really?
I'm working with a team and
Yeah.
we're working in the lighting and I'm like kind of putting stuff together, and
Yeah.
that's where I feel like the juice is. The
Gotcha.
stage is really exciting too,
Yeah.
but there's something about where we're kind of right up to the wire working on the thing that's about to happen to be revealed.
Yes.
And I feel like that's also what keeps me grounded in that teamwork and understanding that it can't be done alone.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's I think a major point of that. To always kind of keep that at the forefront. Yeah. Here's why I'm so fascinated with you, though, Sidra. To be someone who is kind of naturally kind of shy-ish, on the shy side, right? You're known for the kind of the style that you have created, which is a lot more kind of physical, from what I understand, in presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching one of your interviews, and you mentioned, as you were kind of, or as the interviewer was talking about kind of your style in particular, and you were kind of given some history or some context behind it. You said that you are a bit even disruptive in this space.
Yes.
So I was like, hold on a second. So that slapped me in the face, right? Because again, I'm listening to the interview, and you also shared how you were shy. So how does someone who is shy kind of organically, how do you bridge the gap from that to being a disruptor? Like how does that happen?
I think a lot of my work is really connected to the psyche. And I think that curiosity, that interiority, or that interior space, there's so much navigation in that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that people have said about my direction or my guidance or my teaching even is that I can see through and get to the core of someone. And sometimes that scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's almost like this like transparency, but there's something in it. And sometimes I feel like I want to control that, but I can't help but see people.
Yeah.
And
That's good. Yeah.
you pull out the most interior, sensitive parts of your performers. And even we come together and we're bringing all this body language and our experiences and politic into the space.
Yeah.
And that's part of the disruption, I think, is to be able to get beyond the mask and to really bring out the inner text of a human. And so that's where I think the disruption sort of starts, and it can be a little, it's tenuous, because I think when you're working with people, so speaking of the direction of a dance, you are trying to bring them through something and bring out their inner expression. We talked about the voice.
Yes.
As a dancer, you're bringing out your internal voice, and as a director, I want to protect that, but also I'm pushing them. I'm pushing them to go further and further and further. So there's the aspect of coaching in that too. And you can never get too comfortable, because if you're too comfortable, you're not bringing out the truth.
Yes.
The truth of a moment. And so it's a fine line. It's a fragile space. And that's the rawness, I think, though, of the art.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So being able to, that's a gift. That's truly a gift, to be able to, and I mean, just the way that my mind is processing it as you're saying it is you being able, you said, to get past the mask, and you being able to do that in such a, you being able to do that in a space where performance is front and center, right? So that is, it like, initially it sounds almost like an oxymoron, but it's not, because the way that you explained it, in order for, the way I understand it is, in order for them to be able to authentically perform, that getting behind the mask is extremely important.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately that's what's going to be manifested on the stage.
And I have to pull my mask back too.
And you, yes.
I think
yes.
My performers.
Yeah.
And I think it grows and grows. I feel like the further into my craft I am, the more I'm able to be more vulnerable too.
Yeah.
And I think it's essential to really make together, like in collaboration, to be able to be that transparent in a space and to say where I'm feeling a bit vulnerable or fragile, to let them know that as I'm directing them, this is part of my inner monologue too that's coming out.
Yeah.
And I've actually been performing a little bit more recently back on stage as well.
Nice. Okay, good.
Because I really felt like I needed to feel it in my body again. You go through so many years of building the business and directing and making dances, but I wanted to kind of feel it again, like what it was to be on that other side. And it's brought up a lot of these same conversations around, what am I willing to do?
Yeah.
What am I willing to share and
100%.
expose on stage? And it's given me more insight back into the performer perspective when I do go back into direction.
Got you. Oh my goodness. This is when I spoke to I told you they have a dance studio here.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I took classes growing up, Scarsdale Ballet.
Oh, you did? Oh my goodness.
Well, so growing up in New York City, we would just try to go anywhere where there was a great master class. And because we were proximal to Westchester, my mom would sometimes take me up to Scarsdale Ballet if we were doing a master class.
Oh, check that out.
So,
okay.
And
so these are all of your stomping.
Yeah, exactly.
These are all of your stomping ground. I love it.
Love Scarsdale Ballet.
That term, feel it in your body. When I talked to Rosie, who owns it or who runs it, she said that a few times to me too. And she said, just as far as her own performing, and then the way that she directs her girls and things along those lines, or her students, she used that terminology. Now, me not coming from that space, what does that mean to feel it in your body? What does that mean?
Well, I think there's so many ways to answer that question.
Well, firstly, I love the way that you sighed. Like it almost felt like you was connecting. So I feel as if come on.
I'm trying to feel it in my body.
Yeah.
Well, the love of the form of dance comes from just that this is what we all have. Like I always say, movement is what we all have as humans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Dance is a very beautiful and small part of that, in that it's a craft, it's a form, it has a history, but we all move as humans. And I think what's so grounding is that I feel safe in my body. Like my ability to master it, to understand it, to continue to understand it as a craft, but also, keeping my instrument, being in tune with it, not only with the muscles and tendons,
Yeah.
but the breath, what supports me, the blessing of that,
Yeah.
the gift to be able to wake up in a healthy body,
Yes.
to nourish it, to then be able to move it into space and into the world. There's just so much of poetics in it,
Yeah.
but it's
100%.
also
Yeah.
just real. It's corporeal. Like it's here, like it grounds me.
Yes.
I think as we, as a teacher now, I'm speaking from a pedagogical space now, as we get more removed, through technology and extensions, and being so fixated in kind of a hyper real environment.
Yeah.
The one thing that dance keeps me so connected to, like, what is real.
Yeah.
Touch, connecting, eye to eye contact, get into partnering with another dancer. It's like, it doesn't happen unless you're really connecting at an intimate level. So it's multifaceted. It is a technology, and quite a few writers that talk about the body as a technology on its own.
Yeah.
And if you're into anything, it's hard to speak of dancers as just athletes.
Yeah.
There is that component.
Sure.
We are athletes because of the amount of conditioning and attunement that needs to happen, but it's also an expression. It's non-competitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can compete against yourself
Yeah.
because you're not on a time, we can speak about different kinds of dances where you're trying to jump higher or get
got you.
bigger
Yeah.
extension and flexibility, but largely it's just you.
Yeah.
And that dialogue, to be more in tune, to be more in your body, is an inner dialogue.
Yeah.
I think a lot about articulation. If you can think again about like vocalists,
Sure.
they're just working against themselves at some point. It's the same thing with
I
dance.
agree.
Like, could I feel rotation a bit more to achieve a kind of shape, or extend a little bit more out, or fold a little bit more?
Yeah.
These are like inner dialogues. There's no other than just making the thing.
Yeah.
And I think again about visual art, it's like an extension of the imagination.
Sure.
What more can my body do? What other kinds of shapes can I make? So I think about like future shapes.
Yes. But you know what, Sidra, I've never heard, no, and I'm serious. I've never heard of someone referring to their body as an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything that you said after that makes perfect sense to me. Because as, like you said, fine-tuning your instrument, one thing that I admire about you, about dancers, now that I'm kind of had the opportunity to be able to speak with dancers who are really, really into the craft. I love the way that you all are able to express what's going on in your body, or express what you're doing with your body, like that intentional, that intentional attention, but also the ability to be able to put words even to movement, or put words to feelings. You know what I mean? I was watching I want to say it was the interview that you did on the Today Show. And you were dancing with the young lady.
Yeah.
And
Former student.
the former student, yes. Yeah,
Allie.
that was interviewing. I was like, oh, this is a great full circle moment, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought that was beautiful. And the way that you were talking through what you were doing, and I was like, man, I mean, it just stood out to me. It just really stood out to me. And so even as you're describing as you're describing the terminology of feeling it in your body, and the way that you're able to speak to all of the elements of that is amazing to me.
And it can be cosmic too. I think jazz is something I think more and more about because my dad is a jazz musician.
Okay.
And I grew up with that tradition, but didn't quite appreciate it until I got into a college listening level.
Yeah.
There's something about jazz that's like there are parts of it that you can't name because it's sort of, and I've tried to think about and study. I've been working a lot in collaboration with a jazz musician, Emmanuel Wilkins.
Okay.
Grammy nominated now.
Okay, let's go.
But we've been spending a lot of time in the studio together, and we both go into the zone, and it's like the language and the imaging and obviously the craft of knowing our bodies, our instruments. But even after some of our sessions, we've asked each other, what was that?
Wow.
And that's pretty profound.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in there, and I feel like he's understanding me and I'm understanding him, but then we can't describe it in words after. So there's something cosmic and beyond, especially when you're so in tune with the technique of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is always being refined. Like technique is never a finished place.
Yeah.
Especially with the body, like you're constantly conditioning it. Like I said, every day is about putting your hands down on the mat.
Yeah.
You do the same things every time to prepare yourself. It just doesn't change.
Yeah.
And then you get into the zone where you're expressing out.
Yeah, that
So
flow
I find
state.
that just fascinating. And I've been thinking about it just because my dad is a jazz musician, and now being able to work more in the field with up and coming musicians and how they're approaching musicality and channeling in technique, but also stretching it out.
Yeah.
Stretching into different forms and modes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take the technique of what I learned growing up, but stretch it.
Yeah. I like that. Oh, man.
There's a musician, Chief Adjoa. I don't know if you've heard his stuff. He has this, I think that's the album name. I heard him live recently. He calls it stretch music.
Stretch music.
Yeah, and I found him talking about that really interesting and valid to what I'm also thinking about.
Sure.
In terms of you take the form, but you move it, you pull it apart, you bring it back together.
Yeah. You. It's almost like I mean, but again, it's seeing what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that ties in perfectly with even what you were describing before, like being able to feel rotations, like what else can I do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How can I stretch myself? And even back to what you were speaking about with your students. And one of the things that another thing that stood out to me was one of the terms, or one of the reoccurring things that I heard you talk about pertaining to your students was trust.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're talking about collaborating, and we talked a little bit as far as you really have your hand in all in your productions, you have your hand in pretty much everything from A to Z. Mm-hmm. But you also have been able to trust those in which you enlist to partner with or to collaborate with.
That's one of the things I'm most proud of is our organization, SBDNY Inc., Sidra Bell Dance New York. It would not have survived without volunteerism. So many up-and-coming emerging dance artists and artists have volunteered. When we have a production, they come in as fellows, I call them, or interns, volunteers, and some of the productive elements like set design or just helping behind the scenes, costume management, data management, photography, all those people were volunteers for many, many years.
Nice.
And we call them the SBDNY team.
Yeah.
And they actually have their own identity because a lot of them have gone on to be fabulous choreographers and directors in their own right. And that's what I'm most proud of, is that our organization, yes, we put on our productions, but it's also been a house where people feel like they can come and learn something about the craft and then move on and out into their own productive lives.
Got it.
So it really is a history of people now that I can really track back to their volunteerism that are now doing their own work in the field of dance, and very successfully.
I love that.
And mentees as well that I've worked with. And there is that trust, because I think when you're running a team, it's not only just delegation, it's saying, I trust your ideas. What do you think?
Yeah.
And that's why I think of my work as in collaboration, not only with professional designers, but also with all of my students. I'm constantly interested in, like, what do they think? And saying it's in you. You have the agency and you understand,
Yeah.
It's not just in me. Like, we understand collectively,
Inviting them into a collective understanding. That's wow.
Yeah, and that intuition that they have. And that's why they're artists.
Yeah.
And you can see a young person that has it in them, that gift. They might not be able to verbalize it right away, but it's up to me to give them the power to verbalize it.
Sure. Man. Okay. So you've been able to put people in position, and I know that particularly from the choreography element and aspect of it. I know, and I'm interested in really kind of digging into your process a little bit as well, your creative process. But you glean inspiration, you put together these pieces, I'm sure you sit with them for a long period of time, and you turn them inside out, and I can only imagine. And so to then hand that off to someone, but then understanding everything that has been put into you getting to that point, then you hand it to someone, or you invite someone into into your collective understanding, and then you say, I trust you. Like, how do you do that?
That is so complex. I love that question. It is complex. I mean, there's so many ways. I think in terms of like the nuts and bolts of a process, it's gathering.
Yeah.
Really, and that's again why I love dance, is it's simply gathering in a space
Yeah.
with our bodies. And there's this kind of mirror system that starts it. I prepare myself, or we collectively prepare. I have a sort of methodology of training where no matter who it is, whether it's a dancer that's been dancing for 30 years or someone dancing for 2 years, we're going to do this set of exercises
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
together for an hour or two before we even think about creating,
Yeah.
a phrase or an idea. And those exercises are very simple. They're based in like yoga practice and gyrotonic and Pilates
Yeah.
and ballet and all the modern dance techniques I studied in growing up. And it's really just to bring ourselves together. I think I think every field would have a method of like getting in the body, as we say, or in the zone. A lot of it has to do with just breathing together.
Oh, nice. Okay.
There's some kind of neuromuscular things, like just cognitive exercises. But it goes on for like an hour or two at the beginning of any rehearsal. And that's been a method that's been really great to bring with me when I travel.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to like Eastern Europe and there's a language gap potentially, I have this system where it's like we don't even need words. I can just demonstrate, and we can be in our bodies together. And that's really helped me as a touring artist. 'Cause
Yeah.
I do a lot internationally and across disciplines too. I've worked not only with dancers, but with singers and actors. And we need a simple system where we can feel like we're all in our body.
Yeah.
And then it becomes this process of mirroring and generating ideas, a lot of improvisation together. I guide a lot with my voice. Thinking about, sometimes I'll take them on a narrational journey, kind of poetic journey, thinking about kind of going through a process of a state.
Yeah.
There's so many different states that it could be something more physical, like let's fold our bodies.
Yeah.
Or it can be like, let's imagine we're floating above the ground,
Wow.
And it allows the imagery and the body come together to allow us all to free up into an improvisational zone.
Yeah.
And that can go on for a couple of hours. I teach a workshop called Module that is specifically focused on image-based improv.
Okay.
It happens twice a year. And if I'm in rehearsal, taking that then into, let me demonstrate a few shapes I'm thinking about. But if I'm too improvising, I'm like, well, what happens if I put my elbow here and stretch my arm there and, kind of connecting all these different shape ideas, and then they're following me and then putting it in their bodies, and we're repeating.
I love that.
And then we're combining those movements,
Yeah.
At some point into phrases, like a phrase of a sentence, or I think a lot about phrasing and syntax and all the things like
in dance.
In dance, yeah. So we're going to place the emphasis here or there. And then over 2 weeks, if I'm visiting a group, okay, we have these phrases, let's start to arrange them in space. So then there's the spatial negotiations that start to happen. And, two of you are going to do this phrase here. One person's going to do this phrase over here. So you have this kind of map that starts to build out.
Yeah.
And then we haven't even thought about partnering. What does it mean to bring two bodies together and create a duet phrase using force and pressure and elevation, because you have the possibility again.
Yes.
There's a way that one of my dancers speaks about options.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that term. It's like, what are the options here with the material that we have?
Oh, my goodness.
So it just can go on and on. It's like permutations.
Yeah.
You start with the building blocks and you keep building. And it really depends on how long the process is. Sometimes I have 2 weeks if I'm on the road working with a group in San Francisco. I might have several months if I'm working with my local group, my local troupe here in New York. But we might not meet every month. We might meet intensively for a month, take a break, come back to the piece. But it's like cataloging all these building blocks.
Yeah.
With schools, I might have 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I recently did a piece in Austin. I had to do it in 3 days.
What?
And these were very talented
Yeah.
dancers. They're part of a pre-professional program, so they're ready for that. Kind of bringing a guest artist in, and we've got to
got to get to it. Yeah,
we have
got
to
get to it.
memorize.
And memorize.
Yeah. And it's a new technique for them too. Although they've had a lot of training, it's like you're bringing a new language.
My mind is blown. No, for real. Like really, my mind is blown because I'm seeing. I've never heard this terminology, or I never heard this language equated to dance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost as if, as I'm talking to you, I'm learning a new language, and the way that you associate like a phrase. Like they're demonstrating a phrase, and like that is in shapes in dance. Like this is
It still blows my mind too. I mean, every time I see the dancers I'm working with, I'm like, how are they remembering all this?
Yeah.
And I do some memorization too, but a lot of the time I'm just giving it off or handing it off. But there's a kind of patterning. Like I feel like I have a lexicon of movements that people can kind of see, like that's Sidra Bell in a way.
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
But still, it's your body's constantly relearning. You're not running the same lap. You're diverting, you're disrupting, you're changing the path, you're changing your neurological pathways constantly in dance. So it still amazes me, and to be able to describe it, you know, especially in writing, like as I've been saying, I'm trying to write about all of this, and it's very difficult.
I can imagine.
It's difficult to verbalize, like what the thing is that dancers actually do. It's very complex.
Very complex. But I love the fact that again you are putting language to it. But even the example that you led with that you offered earlier, there's still things you're like, okay, what was that? Mm-hmm. But the journey or the process of still trying to put language to it, you know what I mean, and being actively engaged in the moment, being actively engaged in what you're building and how you're connecting, to want to still be able to come up with language that could closely, at least resemble it.
Approximate.
Yeah,
it's dynamic too. I mean, I think one of the things I love about working, especially with my company that's based here in New York, I have 6 dancers.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We tour, but we work a lot in the city in Brooklyn, and we just finished a production in Pittsburgh, an evening length production at the Pittsburgh Playhouse, and I'm constantly, even if it's an older work, I'm constantly asking them, what did that feel like? What was that?
What did that feel
even
like?
if they've been performing it for many years, there's always more language.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of description, discursiveness. Like, how can we be more discursive, more articulated in what we're doing and saying? It's like when you read a text.
Yeah.
There's always more to see.
Yes, that's right.
And to say, and to upend about it, like, well, how are we looking at it from this perspective? Same thing with dance. Like, how are we looking at it every day as a dynamic language that's building?
I love that. Well, now, speaking of a detour of sorts, you went to Yale.
Yes.
For history.
Yes.
Not dance. So what was the motivation and inspiration behind you going for history?
This is, again, the disruptor in me.
Yeah, okay. Yes, there you go. Yeah.
I feel like I never take the path that's laid out for me, which is maybe a vice in a way. I'm always curious about what's on the other side.
There was
a lot of preparation. So I had gone to wonderful schools growing up. I went to Montessori school, Bay Street School for Children, K through 8, and then I went to the Spence School, which is a very fine private all-girls school, really kind of a collegiate level kind of academia.
Okay.
Did a lot of art, and I always loved history and English. I loved being able to track the cyclicality of events, and how human nature, there's some psychology in history. There's so
Yes.
much within history.
Yes, 100%.
But at the same time, I was going every day after school to the Dance Theater of Harlem and Alvin Ailey for several hours every night training in dance.
That is wow.
So I was a pretty intense child.
You were. You for
And once
sure.
it came time for college, I couldn't really figure it out totally.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to keep dancing, but I just felt like there was something more, perhaps, within fields of study.
Yeah.
And I felt like a liberal arts education was the best path for me. I did get into a couple of conservatories for dance, but the morning of decision, even, I was just like, I think I need to move this way.
Okay.
A lot of that's based off of, the feeling that you get when you visit a place. And,
Yeah.
Yale was a really interesting community. There was a lot of art there, actually. There wasn't a major for dance, but there was a big community of student groups. And I was part of a group called Yale Dancers. And that's actually where I got my first producing chops, because we were doing everything student run. So we would make our own schedule for Yale Dancers, the rehearsals. We would bring in master classes. We produced our own shows. We raised all the money. There was like a little board that we had.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was kind of precipitating me having a dance company.
I love that.
And then while at Yale, I also founded an organization called Alliance for Dance at Yale College, which was more an advocacy organization. It was co-founded with myself and another. She was a rising junior, I was a rising sophomore, and our goal was to bring in more dance curriculum at Yale.
Okay.
So we hosted an annual symposium of workshops and events and performances and master classes, and that also was kind of precipitating this idea of leadership and stewardship. And I'm really proud that organization still exists, Alliance for Dance at Yale College.
Building blocks.
And it's became an umbrella for all the dance organizations on campus. And I was just kind of thinking about the Yale experience as a beautiful liberal arts, humanities education, majoring in history. Like I said, I feel like it brings a lot of elements together, discursive, understanding, mutual understanding of, I think language, all those things. And I was also able to do this stuff as a kind of advocate on campus, and that took up a lot of time, actually. Like I would do my classes and I was half the day working at Yale Dancers or Alliance for Dance and doing projects, and that lasted throughout my senior year. And when I graduated, actually, a lot of my contemporaries in those organizations were like, you need to keep going. You need to start something in New York, and that's how Sidra Bell Dance New York was
That's
born.
how it came to be.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm very proud of that history, because I think, at the time, in that era, it was sort of more traditional for you to finish high school, maybe go into a company, actually, because a dancer's life is short.
Yeah.
Or go to a dance conservatory and go right into a dance company as a performer. It was a little bit more of an anomaly for a young woman at the time to graduate Yale not having done a dance degree to then start a dance company.
Wow.
And I did it in the Harlem community. It was self-produced. It was family run. And so there were a lot of anomalies about it, but I feel like it made a little bit of a footprint.
Sure.
Where I feel like I'm seeing now in this generation, people going right into choreography and thinking about different pathways, doing university, and not feeling like they have to go to a dance university. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But there are other modes. And I've done a lot of mentoring in the past few years where people are making decisions between places like Juilliard and Harvard. And they're deciding.
Got to put it on the scale.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay. You have a long life, hopefully.
Yeah.
And lots of avenues, and it can be taken in different ways. You can build community anywhere. You just have to find it. And being in New Haven at that time, it was a really kind of sweet spot of being able to do a lot of things outside of a traditional environment for the arts.
Sidra, where does this fearlessness come from? Where does this fearlessness come from?
Faith, family, really grounded family environment. I think there's been so much nurturing.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about my parents and the nurturing. They had a lot of faith in their artistry, and I got to see that. And I think they never questioned my imagination
Wow.
and my way of communicating.
That's big.
And they gave me a foundation of faith and a sense of community.
Yeah.
And feeling like you're not alone.
Yeah.
In what you're doing. Because there's trepidation, definitely, always. Like I said, little Sidra always kind of pops out here and there where I'm like, you have that sense of like, where am I going? You know? But I think just knowing that you're walking with people in that sense of unknowing.
You've done some really big things.
Thank you.
Yes. No, you have. So we talked about you being featured in Essence. And you were featured in Essence because you are a trailblazer and you made history, right?
Yes.
You became the first Black woman, right, to be commissioned by the New York City Ballet to do a piece. What shy girl? Okay. How do I want to ask this question? It's you got to that place. I mean, clearly you put in the work. Clearly. How do you begin to reconcile that in your mind?
Yeah.
How do you begin to reconcile that in your mind? When you coming from, and I got to keep on going back to the shy girl to now being a trailblazer, a disruptor, and now being the first, making history. Like how, like, no, like seriously, is it sometimes when you wake up in the morning and you're just laying in the bed or you just look in the mirror or you're on a hike or you're something and it just hits you like, whoa, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Like, how do you put those pieces together in your head?
Well, I see versions of myself, too, which is really interesting. Sometimes I look in the mirror and sometimes you can't reconcile the different versions of yourself, especially being, there's so many iterations of being a creator too. And I feel like I've lived 1,000 lives and journeyed through my work. So many proud moments and less visible too, where I feel like I'm climbing the mountain. And those are maybe more discreet too, moments people don't know about, where I'm going over a creative edge or something I never thought I could do.
Yeah.
Or create. And those are some of the more invisibilized things that are in between the bigger moments.
Yeah.
And so when you get a huge opportunity like that, I tell the story all the time of just the moment of stepping out of the cab into the premiere night of New York City Ballet. Everything seemed larger than life, and like I've been on that campus growing up. Being at the Alvin Ailey School was not far from New York City Ballet, so I remember walking across the campus as a teenager, and just every building was super large in my mind.
Yeah.
And so that was a surreal moment, and thinking, it's me.
Yes.
It could have been anyone. There's so many amazing Black female choreographers that I look up to, more than deserving, and it should have happened way earlier, in the history and trajectory of New York City Ballet. So I carry a lot of the responsibility of that, and understanding that it means so much to my students to see me in that position.
Sure.
First and foremost, I wanted to create a really good work.
Yeah.
First, you get the news that you're going to do it, and if you get that natural high, it's like, I've had a few of those, in my creative trajectory where it's like, I can't believe it's happening. But then you get grounded. You really have to get grounded, and it's the same like I described earlier. It's going into the studio and you're meeting the dancers in front of you from the ballet company, and it's building blocks. It's taking them through the process. It's going through the hills and valley of where are we going, and it's leadership. It's taking care of all the edges of the piece. It was called suspended animation.
Suspended animation. What's the inspiration? Why suspended animation?
I feel like a lot of my life has been like a suspended animation, very dreamy
Wow.
and
Wow.
blessed,
Yeah.
There's so much, and in that
Wow.
moment, I felt like it captured the moment too.
Yeah.
It was like this larger than life moment on all ways, historically, for me personally, for my family as a full
Yeah.
circle. My mom used to usher at the Philharmonic
Really?
as a young musician.
Wow.
And my sister was a baby at the time.
Yeah.
And she used to be with my mom, kind of, she was a young musician. And so that was her job. And the Philharmonic is right across the street from the New York City Ballet.
Wow.
And so those moments, it's not only like you're carrying your own accomplishment, you're carrying your family with you.
Yeah.
Those that have supported me my whole life, not only my parents, but my extended family, all
Sure.
artists, a
Yeah,
lot of
all
them.
artists. Okay. Okay.
So there's just so much in that moment. It was dreamy, but it was also this heightened sense of responsibility and wanting the work to be really great.
Yeah.
And to also speak on behalf of the journey and the hard work. That it's not just the product of one person. It's all these people that have bolstered me, my teachers.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments from that whole premiere experience is one of my teachers from Alvin Ailey came to see it.
Beautiful. That's
Jacqueline
beautiful.
Buglisi, but she gave me a note.
Okay.
She saw the piece and she was like, it's, she enjoyed it, I think. But she was like, hold the curtain a little bit longer before it falls. We need to see that image a little bit longer. And I went back to the production team. I was like, can you move the curtain a little slower?
Wow.
Because she's someone she was a person I respected so much growing up. And she gave me my first access, like when she was doing her rehearsals. She's like, come watch, you know? And so the fact that my teachers came and watched it, in that theater, beautiful. And I got nominated for a Bessie Award for the piece.
Okay, nice.
The Dance and Performance Awards, and it had such a ripple effect in so many directions.
Yeah,
and I'm so proud to have been selected. And like I said, it felt like it's actually me, and then the history of Arthur Mitchell from Dance Theater of Harlem. He was the first principal dancer of New York City Ballet.
Oh, wow.
I went to Dance Theater of Harlem growing up. All those edges, like, they just really resonated as a spectacular moment.
It's like converged all at once. Wow. So you made history. And I guess it's not necessarily something that, I mean, did you ever think growing up that this was going to be your trajectory?
Not growing up, no. I mean, how could I have imagined it,
Yes,
And
that's fair.
I think I have such a reverence for the field of dance too, and I still feel like, in some way, especially with these mentors I've been describing, those are my superheroes.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
So in my mind, that little part of me that's still in the classroom at Alvin Ailey or Dance Theater of Harlem, I still see that little girl looking up to these superheroes.
Yeah.
And so, could I have imagined it? No. As you're doing the craft, though, and you're in your career, you aspire for greatness.
Sure.
And you hone and you make sure you're in alignment with the craft. And constantly learning and studying and trying to get better. That's always been my focus, is trying to get better at the craft.
Got you.
And you put yourself in spaces, you align yourself with greatness. You do programs, you apply for things where you feel like, I'd like to be visible in these spaces. You make connections, you make relationships. More than connections, I think relationships.
Yeah, that's big.
And you honor those relationships and you do good work in the community. And that's always been my focus. And so at the time, getting the commission, I was surprised, but also ready.
That's it. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
And I think it was after years of work.
Yeah, absolutely. After years of work that got you to that place. You're gonna be in history book. You know what I mean? Like, and I hate to keep. I'm not. I'm not trying to just. But I mean, it's like you've been able to achieve something that is gonna far outlive you. That no one could take from you, right? Like that happened. And it came about because of the work that you put in, because of the alignment that you made, or because of the education, but the community that you were able to be exposed to, that nurtured you, that brought you up, that you have reverence for, not just the craft, but also the people who came before you who mastered the craft and who were great at it, right? Like all of these building blocks, and then also your that fearless aspect of you, right? That coming from your upbringing where your parents never questioned your imagination, so you felt free to be able to not only express yourself, but also to allow that imagination to run wild, right? And you weren't scared of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to now see that through that conditioning and through that exposure and through that fearlessness, through that disruption, there was a reward on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Now, I know that there was a lot of blood. I know there was a lot of sweat. I know there was a lot of tears, right? I know I think that, I'm not going to say it goes without saying because it's important to just make sure we put a footnote there. But because you invested that, now there's history behind it. Like there's a stamp on it, right? Forever. And so like the reason why I'm coming back to it, because I'm and maybe you haven't thought about it this deep, you know what I mean? Maybe you haven't, but it's like, how do you feel that you have now accomplished something? And not to say that you're anywhere finished, but you've accomplished something that no one could take from you. Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, so much of that resonates because I think all of the blood, sweat, and tears, I think finding the sweetness in those moments lets it be grounded in so much more. Like, I think about it as an abundant moment rather than a finishing place. It's like we're here.
Oh, I love that.
But we're here, but we're kind of relishing in an abundance of what's before and what's to come.
Yes.
Like it's a moment, but it's part of a continuum of just experiences and memories and possibilities.
Yes.
And you need those moments because it gives you the kind of fortification.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You really do. You need those moments. It's like the human experience, you know, the highs and the lows. And so I think about it in this continuum of struggle and moments of pride and moments of curiosity that preceded and still to come. You know, there have been surprises even after that moment where I'm like, I'm still doing it, you know?
Yeah, because you just recently got an award that I'm going to mention it as well. But yes,
and that was
absolutely
astonishing, you know, in so many ways. And things, and I think you continue the work.
Yes.
That's what keeps, like, I've been thinking and writing about and expressing, like, the work never changes. It continues, and it's dynamic, and it's never easy, but there's something joyful in it, and that's what keeps me doing the work.
Sidra, you blew my mind. You're blowing my mind. I love the way that you described. That is such an awesome way to put it. A moment of abundance. And that's so well put. I'm going to use that. Please also use that in your writing too.
Yes.
An abundant moment, because yes, it is indeed a moment. And it's only going to be a moment, right? But like you said, the convergence of the past and the future converging at that point, it's an abundant moment that you embrace. You know what I mean? Like you embrace it, you live in it, you feel it in your body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Receive it.
You receive it, but the work never changes. So the work never stops, right? And so it's like it's that fine balance of, yep, we won, outstanding, but it was the work that got us here, and it's going to be the work that's going to continue, right? But I love an abundant moment. Because oftentimes, and I'm guilty of it, you stick in a place for a long time. You know what I'm saying? You kind of stick there. It's almost like, I mean, you might never experience, but like, there's I'll run into guys that I went to high school with, and they still talking about the stuff that we went to high school. Like though that was like their like that was the highlights of their entire life, and it's like, man, like, okay, yeah, absolutely, I remember, yeah, that's cool, but what have you done lately? Type of thing that you can, So for you to be able to conceptualize, or for you to be able to put these big moments in its proper context, that's fascinating, and that's inspiring, really, to me.
Thank
too.
you. And I'm also deeply nostalgic too. I hold so much. I think that's the continuum that I'm trying to think about.
Yeah.
Is like you can hold those moments, but they're ongoing and they change, and it allows for a kind of flexibility of spirit too, flexibility of allowing yourself to evolve and change.
Yeah.
That's something that's, I wouldn't say it's a priority, but it's something I've come to appreciate.
Yes, I like that.
About creative practice is
like
that I can hold on to those nostalgic things.
Yeah.
But I still have more to do.
Yeah.
And I still have a curiosity in me it's undying,
Yeah.
And the craft might even change, the medium might change. I'm very open to that. I'm open to the medium of dance transforming. I think it will always be bodily connected.
Yeah.
Because that's, like I said before, that's the grounding. That's what we always have, and being in tune and aligned. But what are the other manifestations? What are the other kind of ways and collaborations and expressions that can happen?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right, Sidra, we're coming to a close. I got 2 more questions for you. Number 1, what does dance mean to you?
It means so much. It's such a loaded. I mean, it's like a partner for me.
Wow.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I've been thinking about its partnership with my life. It's hard to separate it.
Yeah.
More so now than ever, because it's continued for so long. When I'm studying it, it feels like something you're trying to reach for.
Yeah.
But it's so integrated into every aspect of my communication, expression, relationships that I've made, that it feels like a partner. Could be my shadow self.
Wow. I like that. Yeah, that's deep.
It could be. It's a part of my imagination. It's a place to go. It's a refuge. It's a place to imagine forward. It's so many things. It's dynamic. It's a place. It's an identity. It's something that will always be a part of the way I move through the world.
Yeah.
Because I also think of the dance not only in my body. It's the dance of like the community. It's the dance of nature. It's everything we're seeing is dancing.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for life.
Oh God, that was good. No, that was really, really good. That was really, really good. Wow. And here, this is why I love these conversations, and this is why it's called creative conversations, right? Because being able to look at things now through your lens and understanding it a little bit more, like that's the dance, right? You know what I mean? And that lens to the, and I love the word you use, and lens to the sweetness of our experience.
And it's so present. I mean, I think one of the things I love about body-based practices is that, or anything creative. I mean, I think we talked about jazz musicians, and when you're in your zone, you're so present.
Yes.
And there's nowhere else you can be.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel that most when I'm in my body, or working with bodies.
Yeah.
In dialogue.
Okay. All right. Last question. We've covered a lot. and I consider it a privilege.
Thank you.
No, really, I do. I've considered it a privilege to be able to have a few moments with you, just to talk with you, to understand you a little bit more, to be able to understand the mind of someone who you've brought so much to not just the art of dance, but you've also brought so much to the lives of the people that you're now paying it forward to. The people who sold into you has produced fruit that other people are currently now eating from, right? And I believe that because of just in our interaction and just kind of hearing the passion and the intentionality that you approach that with, that they're also going to produce fruit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're it's like you're a gift that keeps on giving.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thank
and
you.
so that is mind blowing in the way that you speak, in the way that you describe things, in the way that you contextualize things is really, really, really fascinating to
Thank
me.
you.
And
Thank
so
you.
this was the last question that I have for you is, we talked about the accolades, you know, the history that you've made, you're a trailblazer. But we when we look at the landscape, you know, particularly now with social media and things along those lines, you know, you find people who only post the highlights,
Mm-hmm.
right? They only post the highlights. So, you know, you are an entrepreneur, you're a creative, you have a non-for-profit, like you're all of that. And so if you look online, people, it's like in this space, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're making $1 billion
Mm-hmm.
a day, an hour, right? But we know that that's not the case. We
Mm-hmm.
know that there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and there's ebbs and flows, there's ups and downs. In those challenging times, what are some of the things that Sidra leads into to help you to navigate those spaces and get through or over or around, even in some cases, those challenging moments?
I feel like I was, again, really lucky to come in that kind of crux of when social media started to grow. Millennial, you know, Zennial, I guess I am, you know, in a way. Like, we really went through that phase where we didn't have that kind of media
That's right.
access, and then it changed so suddenly. I think for me in growing the business, we established in 2001 in Harlem and then created our nonprofit in Westchester. And it was always really important for me to get direct access to my audience. I never wanted a huge audience.
Yeah.
I always wanted a loyal and tight and niche audience, which we've grown, you know, over the years. I think a lot of using the media as a tool, it's not our identity. It's a way to cultivate audience and get the information directly to them. And so that's been building for many years as a stream, not only to show the highs, but to show the process, to show what we're doing on tour, to show the volunteerism, to show who's part of Sidra Bell Dance New York. Not just Sidra Bell, but who's activating these spaces, who are the designers. All those spaces are a place to communicate the story of who we are. And so I've never taken that for granted. And, you know, I remember the time of writing letters, you know, to get people to come to an event. And we've always had like print media. My mom is a musician, also does graphic design, and we've always done like print mailers and things like that, and cultivated those different aspects of audience, never taking for granted the different modes that people get information, and being able to also have performances, but talk about the, you know, the philosophy behind them, the pedagogical aspects. Like, it's all holistic to when people come to the theater, and what they're seeing is like what they know about the work. And so it's all, for me, communicative. And when we find ourselves in a place where it's more of a lean year, where funding isn't coming through, it's about doing other kinds of performances or other kinds of engagements, partnering with universities or different local partners. I've done stuff with the library here in Greenberg. You know, I've done things in off-site kinds of spaces, installations. I've done big theaters. It's about being nimble and being flexible and knowing that the work is going to have integrity wherever it lands.
Yeah.
It's about the work, not the size, but the work itself.
Mm.
And so I think of us as small and mighty.
Yeah, I like that.
We're very nimble. I think loyalty is really important to me. I've worked with the same people for over 15 years.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nurturing young talent. You know, the photographers I worked with when they were 18 are still working with me now,
Wow.
10 years later.
Yeah.
Same designers. And it's also about building that cultivation of language between the team, you know.
Yeah.
So that now as we're growing, actually, a lot, I can send a dancer to teach on my behalf.
Yeah.
You know, I can nurture those other younger artists to take on the role of stewardship. Yes. So it's about empowering the organization as a whole, nurturing the skills that people have, giving them the language, and being able to have them also represent SBDNY.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Mm. So, in challenges, sometimes you got to pivot, right? Sometimes you got to pivot. You got to switch perspective, right? And be willing to, like, I love that. Be flexible enough to be present in whatever space that you're able to be in, right?
And not everything is for everyone.
Yes,
you know, I think this speaks to, we call ourselves a boutique company.
Okay.
But I know that our audience loves what we do, and some people are still discovering it. You know, midstream, I've done over 20 years of making work, and some people are just now discovering things I did many years ago. And
one of them, yeah.
Back then, you know, it wasn't super commercial, you know, the things I was doing but now it takes on a different resonance because times have changed.
Sure.
So you never know, you know, you have to stick to your artistic vision and know, you know, what's true to me is true to me.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to put it out there because this is my art.
Yes.
And people might pick up on it at a different point. And that's okay.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Oh. All right, before we go, I have a bonus question. Sidra is a beautiful name.
Thank you.
What does it mean?
It means star-like or starlight. And it has a few different etymologies. Like I've heard, you know, different people say it means heaven, but my parents chose it for star-like.
Wow. Shout out to mom and dad.
Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to mom and dad. I mean, like, you know, who they put that on you. They give you that name, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And look at you.
Thank you.
Look at you. That is awesome. I really enjoyed my time with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, listen, the pleasure was all mine, and we're gonna have to do this again. We're gonna have to in some sort of different iteration. I don't know.
I would love that.
We'll figure it out.
I would love that.
We'll figure it out. So let the folks know where they can find you, how they can connect with you, all of that good stuff.
So I'm at Sidra Bell Dance New York for a company on Instagram, Sidra Lee Bell for my personal Instagram, and then we have our website, www.sidrabelldanceny.org.
Outstanding. And all that information, of course, will be in the description of this video. And so, ladies and gentlemen, family, loved ones, they have it. I don't know. I would love to hear what you took away from this particular episode. But for me personally, what I took away is being fearless, being open, being present can take you places that you never even dreamed of. So my challenge to you, which is going to be the challenge to myself, is incorporating those things into my everyday dance. So I hope that you enjoyed yourself. I certainly did. Let me know in the comments. And till next episode, I'll talk to you in a minute. Peace.